All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys how to set up your grid for the grid project. So once you send me a picture to print, you're going to have that, and then you're also going to have your larger paper that you're going to grid. The small paper is going to have a 1 inch by 1 inch grid. What that means is each square on here is 1 inch long. So you want to use a ruler that has numbers on it that you can see. Some of my rulers have the numbers rubbed off, so you want to be careful and make sure you're using a ruler that you can actually see numbers. What you want to do is you always want to measure from the same side. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to measure from left to right. So I'm going to put the 0 right on the edge here, and I'm going to measure over every 1 inch. I'm going to make a dot. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a dot on every 1 inch mark. Okay, like that, like that, like that, and there. Okay, so we're going to do that first. Then what you're going to do is we're going to be drawing lines vertically. But this line, even if you line it up with the dot, could still end up being crooked. So we make 2 sets of dots. Those of you that are familiar with plotting points in math, the easiest way to make a straight line, you just need a minimum of 2 points and you're going to get a straight line. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top of the page now, and I'm going to measure from left to right the exact same way. The reason why it's important you measure the same way is because the paper might not be exactly 10 inches wide. It might be like 1/8 of an inch off or something really minor. So if I measured from the opposite side, the bottom would have a gap on this side and the top would have a gap on this side, and it makes all your squares slightly crooked. So just make sure if you're measuring left to right, do that the same way on both sides. So I'm going to go every 1 inch, make a dot, make a dot, make a dot. Okay, and I'm going to do it like that. And I'm going to make sure I mark it clearly so I can see where my dots are, okay? Yep, and then like that one there. Oh, I've missed one on this side. Nope, I did not. That one's okay. Never mind. Forget that one. Okay, so then what you do is you basically just connect the dots. So I'm going to go ahead and start connecting these dots. And I should get perfect lines. So I'm going to just really quickly do that. So right there. Now on the printout, I recommend you use a B pencil and draw your lines super dark because you want to be able to see them. We're going to take a different approach on the final. But for here, we can draw really, really dark. Okay. So we'll do that, do that, do that. And you see I'm getting all of these vertical lines here. So I'm going to go like this, lined up there. Sometimes when you're drawing over dark areas, it can be hard to see, but the graphite will shine in the light. So as long as you make the mark, even if the paper's like black in that area, you should be able to see where that mark is. You might just have to tilt your paper a little bit. So here, let me move this up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to go right there. All right, and then the last one is basically just like right here. So we'll do that. All right, so now I've got that gridded vertically. It's kind of hard to see, but you guys can see. We basically put the person in jail is kind of what it looks like, right? So now we have to have the lines that cross over the other way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my paper in a way that it's comfortable. And I'm going to go from left to right again, or whatever way is comfortable. So I'm just lining it up on an even inch line. Doesn't matter where you start. And then every 1 inch, make a dot. Now this will be easier to see because I can draw it in the white for you guys. So we're going to do that, there, there, and there. And then once again, I measured from left to right. So I'm going to keep my paper oriented the same way, and I'm going to go left to right again so that they match up. Because you can see this edge right here, there's like a teeny like 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch that's just slightly off, which is fine. That's not the end of the world. But if you do it on opposite sides, then it really messes you up. So you got to make sure you always measure from the same direction, make the dots. And I'm going to go ahead and connect the dots again. Rotate the paper in whatever way is most comfortable to you. We're going to do that. Do that. Now, the way I set this project up is you are exactly doubling the size of the printout. So your printout is 8 by 10, and you're doing a 1 inch grid. Your large paper is 16 by 20, and you're going to do a 2 inch grid. So I'm not actually going to grid out the big one for you because I think if you guys understand this, you'll understand the big one. But just to give you an idea, we'll show you here. All right, so we've got that. So this would be a finished gridded picture. So now I have my grid. If you did it properly, you should be able to count 8 grids up vertically. Well, according to this one, right? On the shorter side, you should have 8 grids, and on the longer side, you should have 10. Okay? Then what you would do is you can see this other paper is really, really big. It's 16 by 20, a lot larger than your original one. We're doubling the size. You're going to do the exact same thing, but instead of making a dot every 1 inch, you're going to make a dot every 2 inches. And you should get the exact same grid on both. It's just this one's going to be scaled up bigger. Then you do that same trick. You plot the points, start drawing your lines, and figure out where you go from there, just like we did on the worksheet. Okay? Any questions on that? Pretty basic. All right, let me just turn my recording off here really quick. Go up to here, and we'll stop.